Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and straight back from reviewing Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, I'm going to review the other side of the platforming spectrum, and that is New Super Mario Bros. U. Like, the letter U. I know, it's stupid. You know what its running title was? New Super Mario Bros. Me. So let's get some friends together and play New Super Mario Bros. With you and me. Anyway, back to seriousness. So, after reviewing the masterpiece that is Donkey Kong Country Returns, I decided to do another platformer, this time from, the king, who basically defined platformers, Mario, making his HD debut on the Wii U on launch day, too. So, is a launch title going to show off the spectacular horsepower of the Wii U and give us this brand new Ultimate Mario that no one would ever have thought possible? No. Don't get me wrong, this is still a great game. It's just not a great Wii U game. Let me elaborate. So first off, if you didn't listen to my new Super Mario Bros. 2 video, I would definitely give that a listen because that'll save you a lot of time. But suffice to say that this game is better than that one in pretty much every way. First off, the 4-player multiplayer from New Super Mario Bros. Wii is back. Personally, I really only get to play the 2-player mode with my sister, and that's a blast. It can be both a hindrance and a help, especially because you can, pick up each other and then throw each other, which can lead to some chaotic deaths. But on the other hand, sometimes my sister and I can cheaply get through the level by, me bouncing off her head, and then she turns herself into a bubble so that she can catch up to me. Because unlike the game I just reviewed, if you lag behind when the camera goes out of range, you're going to lose a life for it. I mean, this isn't Kid Icarus, people. This is Mario. Also, there are coins, but not nearly the insane amount in New Super Mario Bros. 2, and the game is innovative. This game actually tries to bring new things to the table. Just to name a few, you've got the acorn mushroom. What? Anyway, the Super Acorn lets you turn into Squirrel Mario, which is kind of a combination of the propeller suit from New Super Mario Bros. Wii and the cape from Super Mario World. So it essentially gives you a boost jump and it lets you glide, which it doesn't replace either the Tanuki suit or the propeller mushroom, which is surprisingly absent, but it still gets the job done. And there are some pretty creative uses for it, especially in the new events mode that I'll get to. Not too many else in the way of new items. The Yoshis come back from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which are fun, but they're not used enough. The baby Yoshis, on the other hand, you want to talk about a missed opportunity. So I've been told that they were in Super Mario World, but I never really played that game all the way through. I think I only got through about 2 worlds of it. What they do in this game is, depending on which one you're holding, you have to treat them like an item rather than like a horse, like Yoshi when he's a grown-up. The blue one shoots bubbles at enemies, which can turn them into coins. The pink one puffs up like a balloon, letting you reach high up stuff easier. Then the yellow one lights up dark areas like the Bulb Berry in Super Mario Galaxy 2. Overall, though, the baby Yoshis don't really appear in the levels themselves that much. Instead, you can find them sort of roaming around the world map. Which, when I played with my sister, she kind of hated the baby Yoshis because they make this, really cute singing noise, admittedly, but on the other hand, you have to keep carrying them, so that means you can't use any other power-ups, and she found the singing to be annoying, so we mostly ended up ignoring them, and sometimes she would go out of her way to get me to drop mine, so I guess I didn't get to appreciate them as much as I would have liked. But hey, small price to pay for being able to play a game with my sister, right? So first off, another new thing that this game tries, which I'm kind of shocked took so long to get here, is the levels actually have names. Previous side-scrolling Marios would have World 1-1, World 1-2, very inventive naming there, localization team. But now every single level has a name because the levels are much more varied. There's usually some kind of new concept in every level, and they're hardly ever repeated. I can't say the same for the overall look of the game, though, as most of the backgrounds end up being recycled, as is, like, most of the music, which is pretty much the same as New Super Mario Bros. Wii. The new tunes that appear really don't push the Wii U's horsepower at all. They mostly just sound like they could have easily been in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, no problem. So if you were hoping for an epic symphonic soundtrack like the Mario Galaxy games, not gonna happen. Sorry, but it's not. Does the game look good for a Wii U title? Yes, but it doesn't push the Wii U to its limits, like, say, Super Mario 3D World does. This game makes the game much easier on the eyes, like, the coins have never looked shinier, and the few levels that actually have unique backgrounds, like everyone talks about this, I'm going to talk about it too. The Soda Jungle's, I think it's called The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. It has that in the background. That's amazing. And then there's this one level in the winter world that has rotating stars and then, like, the northern lights, which was also cool. But those levels are so few and far between that you end up getting bored of the scenery after you've seen it like 100 times over. What is cool, though, is the fact that the game is also much more non-linear. I mean, not only is the game non-linear to begin with, because most of the levels have, like, secrets to discover. There are usually 3 star coins per level. Some levels have, like, secret flagpoles that let you get to other levels. But after you've beaten the second world, and I say that loosely, because after that you can basically choose the order in which you want to play the worlds. Are you not a huge fan of water levels and want to get them out of the way? You can do that. If you want to skip straight to the snowy world before you get to the lava world, you can do that too. There are certain limitations, but for the most part you have a lot more freedom to just go wherever you want and take things at your own pace, but there's also a cost that comes with it. In New Super Mario Bros. Wii, you could easily pull up a menu that had all the worlds and then skip right to them. In this game, you have to get your way over to a warp pipe in order to shoot you to the other worlds, which sounds cool in theory, but if you're in a level that has a lot of enemies roaming around the map and then you bump into them and have to do, like, a battle sequence, you begin to start hating it. Speaking of things that I hate, they still haven't fixed the stupid saving system. So, let me put this into perspective. You can't freely save the game until after you beat it. What? Why can't that be available from the get-go? You're given the option to officially save if you beat a castle or a tower. And that's pretty much it. Which really stinks, because then if you've, like, played 3 levels and then die, then you have to replay those 3 levels all over again to get to the castle again. So it's almost like you have to find a checkpoint within a world, which even the original Mario Brothers wasn't that cruel. So they do have a quick save option, which is basically like suspending, meaning, like, yeah, the game will, like, sort of pause itself if, say, you have to do something else, because who wants to play video games their whole life? But then it disappears as soon as you start back up the game. And even though that was kind of cool for my sister and me, it wasn't so cool when it first came out in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, when our Wii wasn't in the best of conditions and sometimes it would break down. So then we'd have to restart all the levels that we had just beaten because the stupid quick save had to disappear as soon as we booted up the game again. But on the plus side, Wii U discs in general seem to be better than Wii discs, especially because of the added little bump. So hopefully that problem won't happen for a while, but also, knowing Nintendo's policy with their later systems, Wii U's in the future will likely be just as temperamental. So hope you don't run into that. Now, as far as the actual game goes, this game plays very smoothly. It definitely doesn't get any complaints in the gameplay department. Mario and Friends handled just as well as they did in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. If you still are having a hard time, even with all the cool options they give you, like the Super Guide or bouncing off of people's heads, and the new power-ups and all that, you can activate what's called boost mode, where a fifth player can have the gamepad and like tap on the screen to make little blocks appear, which can basically make or break the game. Sometimes my sister and I have used that in really cheap ways, like just reach a star coin effortlessly when it would have taken much more strategic planning in the main game. But on the other hand, sometimes I'd like use it to get in her way, or like she'd bump her head on it and she'd just want to tear the gamepad from me. It's not one of the most mind-blowing uses of the gamepad, admittedly, but it is a good tool if, say, you're playing this with your kids. Speaking of kids, that brings up the other main flaw with this game, and that's the Miiverse functionality. Now, since this is a Wii U launch title, it's of course going to want to show off what the system can do in comparison to what New Super Mario Bros. Wii tried to show off. So the Wii U has Miiverse, and it lets players basically write out their thoughts on the game. And for an E-rated Game Boy, does Nintendo not have a filter? I was quite honestly ashamed that my very innocent sister was seeing most of that stuff, because I was like, this is the kind of stuff I'd expect to see in like an M-rated game. But this is a game rated E for everyone. And you're getting... there's a few sexual jokes in there, for crying out loud. In a Mario game! Even worse is that it's really hard to turn off. In fact, like, I'm pretty sure every single time my sister and I booted up the game, we'd have to manually switch off the Miiverse. And if we forgot, then we'd have to go back to the menu screen, turn it off again, and then hope that it would work. Because sometimes it would be temperamental, and it would still show up even if we turned it off. Maybe that was just our disc that was faulty, but we really hated the Miiverse functionality, and every time they'd try to make it clever by saying, do you want to write Bowser a letter saying that he's terrible? We'd just be like, no, and make a joke out of it. Now, what sets this game apart from other new Super Mario Bros. Games, you might be wondering? Well, there's this new challenge mode that they have where they take specific objectives so that it's not just get to the flagpole at the end. Like, you might have to jump on a bunch of enemies in a row, or collect as little coins as possible, or collect as many coins as possible. And those are fun, even if they don't really get you anything in the main game. They're kind of just a distraction. And there's no leaderboards or Wi-Fi option. This is a Wii U launch title. What the heck, Nintendo? So you really can't brag about your high scores unless you actually talk to people. You can play as a Mii in this mode, but I quite honestly found it to be annoying because the Miis make these really stupid high-pitched sound effects. Like, I tried playing as the villain from my book series, who's supposed to have this gravelly, menacing voice, and instead, when he reaches the flagpole, he's like, Yummy! Seriously? Does anyone talk like that in real life? Now, the game does do a pretty good job at the boss fights. Yes, they're the Koopalings and Bowser Jr. and Bowser again. But at least they do a good job of having them have all new attack strategies. So, you're not fighting the same boss battles. You're just fighting the same guys that have new strategies. And the final boss battle with Bowser is actually pretty cool. It has some nice music, it has a good build-up. It's not incredibly challenging per se, but it is cool. It'll never beat the spectacular battle in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but it does a good job for what the game is, and Bowser looks great in HD, so no complaints there. And there's also some post-game content that you can unlock if you have all the star coins, but I won't spoil it, because quite honestly I don't think I've even unlocked most of it, so I guess I can't spoil it. So, New Super Mario Bros. U is a fun little distraction. It's a good Mario game. It controls well. It sounds decent. Nothing is going to blow your mind in the audio department. The level design is fantastic, with plenty of new ideas, but not new enough to make this a revolutionary Mario title. Yes, the game isn't nearly as stale as New Super Mario Bros. 2, but it's also not nearly as fresh as the original Mario Bros. Was. So as a result, you're probably going to be thinking it's just another Mario game. So if you haven't played New Super Mario Bros. Wii, definitely pick this up. This is some really solid multiplayer platforming if you've got local friends. If you're kind of sick of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, this game probably won't change your mind. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts. If I'm missing anything, let me know in the comments section. And until I make my next video, keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye.